everybody. I'm Rob, and thanks for stopping by my channel. You might notice a little something different about me today. I am not wearing my glasses. It's because I got into a little accident a couple weeks ago on my e-scooter. Had a bumblebee fly at me out of nowhere, and I swatted at it and went over. So I've been recovering a little bit. I got a nice little shiner that's recovering here. Had some road rash, nice little gnarly scar there. I made an attempt to record last week, but it still kind of looked like I got attacked by a chupacabra or something like that. So decided to put a pause on it and start again next week. Anyway, quick public service announcement. If I wasn't wearing my helmet, it would have been a lot worse. So if you ride an e-scooter, skateboard, bicycle, motorcycle, do yourself a favor, folks. Wear a helmet. You don't know what is going to happen. All right, moving on from that. So today we're going to be shifting gears, and we're going to be moving from chords and fretboard shapes into single note playing. If you want to learn how to solo, play, or write riffs, or just understand what your favorite artists are doing, maybe this is some of the stuff that you should be looking into, like right now. So buckle up, take some notes, because we're going to be drinking from the fire hose today, friends. Let's dive in and start with some basics here. All right, so today we're going to begin with the two primary pentatonic scales that most people first learn and use, the major and minor pentatonic scales. So each one of these uses just 5 notes. They're basically stripped down versions of major and minor scales, and each pentatonic shape outlines their modal counterpart based on that degree of the pentatonic scale. So they have larger intervals between the notes than the modes have, which equates to fewer opportunities to step on a turd. That basically means playing bad notes. They're the foundation of solos and melodies. You can basically name the genre, and somebody is using pentatonic scales in those songs. Now, before I begin, I just want to be clear here, because some people like to get hung up on semantics online, and other newer guitarists and musicians have potential to get confused by all of this. The pentatonic scale, for example, is made up of 5 notes. When learning and practicing scales, it's fairly customary for people to play the notes, then end with the octave, which is also the first note, only higher. Even though this seems like a linear thing, it's really kind of a circular pattern when you think about it. Many guitarists, probably most I'd imagine, when learning this stuff, they play 2-octave scales, and many even end it on the second or the third above the second octave because it just fits on the fretboard. This is because we have 6 strings and we can play multiple octaves in a single playing position. Outside of guitar, by music theory standards, the scales only consist of their degrees up to, but excluding the octave, because it's also the first degree of that scale. So it can be a little bit confusing to those who are learning pentatonics and modes on guitar regarding where it actually ends. Is it only the notes without the octaves? Is it the 5 notes plus the octave? Is it the 2 octaves? The point here is don't get hung up on those things. These scales are set in stone, but the musician can internalize them and apply them to their instrument however it helps them to improve. You just want to know what notes you're playing, know where you're at within a scale, and all that other stuff just really doesn't matter at all. It's all about the notes. So for these examples, I'm just going to be playing 1 full octave so you can really hear the differences, but just know that there are a bunch of different ways to play these things and a bunch of different ways for you to interpret all of this. At the end of the day, it's the notes that matter. Okay, people. So here we go. All right, so we're going to play 2 different pentatonic scales here. We're playing the minor pentatonic, major pentatonic scale. We're going to keep it in the key of A. It's going to be based off the low E string at the 5th fret. This is where our vision is going to be located. So, A major pentatonic. We're going up 1 octave, back down, and we're going to do 2 octaves, and then back down. Same thing with the minor pentatonic. So here we go. A major pentatonic. There's 1 octave. Let's go up 2 octaves. Now we'll do the A minor pentatonic. That's 1 octave. We'll go up 2 octaves. All right, and then all you have to do, just for bonus points here, to play the blues scale, add just 1 single note. We're adding the tritone, which is also really the halfway point between the root and the octave. Some people also refer to this as the blue note. Right there, if we're at A, It's going to be right there at E flat. Okay, so throw this into the minor pentatonic scale and see what happens. So it adds a little extra flavor and spice to the minor pentatonic scale. All right, so I'm definitely going to make an episode dedicated to just the blues. So we're going to move past this for right now, but if you didn't know until now, then now you know. All right, so here's the fun part. The major and the minor pentatonic scales, they can all use the same notes while playing in a single key, but you're playing different shapes across the fretboard in specific locations. So as long as you're in standard tuning, these things are static and they're not going to change relative to one another. So for example, if I'm playing a C major pentatonic scale, A minor pentatonic, they're both going to have the same exact notes. They're just going to have different starting points and ending points on the fretboard. This is what's referred to as the relative minor. A minor is relative to C major. So your relative minor is going to be 1.5 steps or 3 frets or 3 half steps lower than its relative major. They're part of the same family and they're using the same notes here. All right, so if we're in C major here, we're going to be up at the 8th fret on the low E string. We can just play that major pentatonic scale. The relative minor is going to be A minor pentatonic because we're going down 3 frets. I can actually play C major right here in this A minor pentatonic position, starting with C and ending on C. There's my C major pentatonic, but I'm playing an A minor pentatonic shape. Here's the regular C major pentatonic. All right, so there are 3 more pentatonic shapes to learn that simply link together across the fretboard. Once you learn them and how to move between them in a relative sense, the fretboard really starts to open up for you. Since I got to know my modes really before I got into pentatonics, I refer to these shapes by the modes from which they derive. Others prefer to number them or name them based on their chord shape within the cage system. Also, if you get a chance, check out my video on cage, which kind of gives my take on the cage system that I call Gecka, only it's a little more logical to me. So anyway. So by that logic, the major pentatonic would be part of the E shape, and the minor pentatonic would be part of the G shape. So if you're using the cage system. So however you cut it, notes are notes. And it's all about the distance between these notes that matter. So, and also in the context in which these notes are played. So let's take a quick peek at the pentatonic shapes across the fretboard in the same key, but we're going to be doing different starting and ending points. So these are all going to be their relative patterns, all right? All right, so I'm just going to be playing in the key of G major, so I'll be using a G major pentatonic based off of my low E string root, which also means my relative minor is going to be E minor down here, 3 frets lower. So since we're using guitar here, we're going to kind of base everything off of the E shapes, just kind of get your feet wet here and get started. So we're going to start off with E minor pentatonic, then we're going to move to G major pentatonic over here, then we're going to be moving up here to A, what I refer to as Dorian pentatonic. It kind of outlines the Dorian shape. Then we're going to be going into a B Phrygian pentatonic. It outlines the Phrygian shape. We'll get into this stuff in the next video. All right, and then right here, we're going to be going into D, Mixolydian pentatonic, before we go up to the E minor pentatonic again, okay? This will start to make a little more sense. Don't let the names confuse you or anything. At the end of the day, these are just the shapes, and it's really more important that you know the shapes and the notes that you're playing. All right, so let's start off with E minor pentatonic. I'm going to name them out. We're going to work up the fretboard. So here's your E minor pentatonic. Now your G major pentatonic. All right, we're going to go into A Dorian pentatonic here. We're going to be going into B Phrygian pentatonic. Lydian pentatonic. It's kind of a mouthful. And then we're back up to E minor pentatonic here. Alright, so we're going to elaborate on that stuff in the next video a little bit more when we get into the modes of the major scale. There are a lot of common things between the modes of the major scale and the pentatonic shapes, and we'll get into that a little bit further in the second part of this scale series here. For now, though, we're just going to wrap up this video. Let's go on to Album of the Day. Alright, so for Album of the Day today, on the Pentatonics episode, there are like tens of thousands of records to choose from. So many artists use pentatonics across genres, and I could really choose about any album, but for this episode, you should take this one for a test drive here. It's the Allman Brothers Band, live at Fillmore East. This is probably one of the best live albums recorded in that era, and it's filled with a ton of great pentatonic licks and riffs. So the Allman Brothers Band, they were just one of those bands that just kind of lived in that world of major and minor blues using the relative pentatonics. And, I mean, they were really just one of the first jam bands. I'm a big jam band fan here, so. Duane Allman and Dickie Betts, they're both incredible, foundational guitarists who use pentatonics in their own very unique ways. So check this one out when you have time. It's a 2-album set, so take some time to study this one. All right, that's about all for now on the topic of pentatonics. I'm sure we'll cover more down the road, but it's really endless where you can go with this stuff. And there are already tons of videos on pentatonics from a lot of different perspectives out there, so I encourage you all to go out and find out for yourselves regarding what you want to do with this. Alright, so the next episode will be the final episode in this series. I can't believe it. We're staying with the theme of scales. We're going to be moving into the modes of the major scale. We're going to be flipping into the modes mode. So make sure you hang around, subscribe if you're interested in learning more. Please like and comment below if you have anything to add to this, and stay tuned. Hope to see you next time, friends.